So, yeah, this whole thing was something for people have a different idea. Actually, you were doing one to see what the changes were. I probably was going to come up with 50 years. I'm sure that was the case. That was 19 years ago. And then you got this, yeah, as your evidence. Plus, I mean, certain things of a resurrection of the dead have been accomplished. But I'm sure that was nothing more at the hospital. A couple of college kids screwing around with some man who looked remarkably different from this. Probably just kidding around with it. Which who would know if anybody was in that hospital? Which is that's a great thing for them at a young age. It really is. I think most men say it's a 7 year itch, that they don't want to have sex anymore, at least for 7 years. So, and usually at 54 men, especially you losing your testicles at 14 years old, with three foul pitches in your personal area. So one of those different combined things leads you to go to a bar when New York City pays you for to have a beer, and it leads to the whole thing, you know. And I would think they decided to shut the military contractor down. A lot different thing back then, which is no more for those people. People such as you say, it's just not possible for those people to compete with some of these men, as you know, in 20th century. But in order for you to do that job, it takes men like that. And that's if they decide to leave you alone and then back the thing up. Otherwise, it never does happen, right? I mean, all those women say the only reason why you're doing this because you're your own fathers, you're your own father, right? And that's a difficult thing when you know that book says not to call any man on earth your father. You have one father in heaven. And in one version it means the father at the church. Yet people try to have clothing, food, water, clothing, shelter, and knows they have need of that stuff to get it. Another version, another story of that is that the father, which we know about, provides all the food, water, clothing, shelter. It should be fresh. It should be good, right? Yeah. So you're told to try all this different stuff and do all these different things a long time ago. It's an unfortunate thing. It's an unfortunate thing when a very young family goes through your file cabinet and tries to install something that you don't know about and that maybe was at that time the right answer. But ultimately, it winds up being an apartment at a rental and for people that are dying. Now, you saw the white light not too long ago, which usually means that it's all over for you. Yeah. So it's like you do. I mean, you always did things like this with a light on, and various things that the U.S. military not to do those things. Yeah. It's not impossible for them to come through that door and take the grab brandy. So, so you did really well with this. I do appreciate it after your job. It's not much. I mean, you only had 5 years. You did 5 years to teach, and in your mind, you gave them your basis for trigonometry, but there's a lot more to that. And they would not know that and destroy all your father's assets. They would not know the 600,000. They're not caring. They felt they did the work. They felt they did the work, and it was theirs. It would go there if they took government money. They would definitely go there, make them all get on a machine. It was not possible for anyone other than your father to do most of it himself. So in that family, the family actually did the work, right? So it was obviously some set up for something else. One thing leads to the next, where children get arrested and have to have a job. And, you know, buying a couple machines that went broke and doesn't have to buy a machine tool. And like you said, the lawyers would want broke machines. I mean, internal register would want 13 years for the extra taxes. So it was a very difficult thing for everybody. I mean, for everybody across the East Coast. But in the end, everybody bought movies and pictures, and everybody bought Microsoft, and everybody bought. So the West would have a try to infiltrate the East Coast and tell them what to do. And for somebody suffering like this, there's no point really at continuing. And then when we found this out, what would you really do? It's like a 5th-year allotment for young children to learn the whole thing in 50 years. But there were people at thousands, if not millions of years ago, that nobody can compete with in the eternity of hell. So you're saying something here just about in case not true. So we had thought to fulfill this was one thing we were working on to fulfill this great prince of Atlantis and trying to keep him alive in light of all the attacking with satellites and everything else. Yeah. So, but if I put this on, it probably what the pain is. But it could be stepping on a rusted nail, all kinds of things in your ankle, rust in your blood. Usually a tetanus shot will help that. With milk and magnesia, but your memory is already shot. It's very difficult for you to hold a conversation with somebody. So we worked on all this different stuff, and we got you in a trap in your head. We try to work you like a puppet. And I think that was a difficult thing for you. It's a very difficult thing for anyone to realize you could be walked like a puppet, thrown off the walls, and break their feet, and all kinds of things. So we did ask you to try this while we stretch your spine and make you 6'3", and try something a little different for you. So, I mean, if that's not successful, because also it doesn't have to be. I mean, that's why you're all hunched over and squishing and launching it. Well, at least at one time that we know, you went back to being a 7-year-old boy, which if that happens, you got these cars here. I don't think you know how to do it, but you would have to be able to get one of those cars. You know, and then what are you going to do at 7 years old? You know, or a bus or something else. And I just don't think that's going to be here. And nobody joined the campaign in Florida. And the reason for this, I mean, we did ask them not to put it on TV or enter in Florida, right? Which no sooner you got to the house, they clubbed you in the head. I mean, you paid cash, right? Yeah. So, I mean, what would it be other than somebody lived there before and felt, or somebody's grandfather lived there before and felt they owned it, you know, or set up fake brochure and took the kid out when he got there, stole his wallet, his checkbooks, his credit cards, and spent it all over town while he lay in a coma for 19 years with a bunch of nice college girls showing him a good time, right? Yeah. So it could have been, you know, based on what you know, 3 or 4 times or whatever, but it could have been a lot more than that. Yeah. And that could be a problem downstream. But we do have all this other stuff. We did do the idea of taking the satellites down in space, the atmosphere, right? And it doesn't seem to change anything other than horrible material at this city. I think this city has to be destroyed. So if you, I mean, we asked you to stay here and train for 40 years, but we're trying to keep you alive. So, and like, if you went to a haircut place, you know now it works a certain way. Right? Well, one lady, one girl, they are for other reasons, you know. So, if that's a problem. So we asked you to try that medication to, to restart your testicles, not for any other reason to see if it works or not. But all these things were proven already. See, and then it's in 15 years and then 50 that, you know, they want to question everything. They want to question it and respend all the money to do it again. And a lot of people don't like that. It's accept with themselves. But as far as we have this medical book, 65,000 pages, which cures any kind of disease, other than something really new. And all this can be solved. That's if we say so. Why would we do that with a body like yours all screwed up and in pain? So that's a difficult thing to deal with. So if we choose to do this, it doesn't mean we win. And you know, and I think your life's been since you're 27 years old. So, which is really all people fulfill all prophecies. And that you agree with that when you read it. And that's how. Now, NASA will tell us then there's a planet every so often. When, for example, you go to sleep at night, you go to the next one. So you went all the way out 6,666 years into the future, right? Which is stuff like this, well, not a lot more than this, and you had it, but people would ultimately feel it was theirs. People would ultimately consider uh, their food, water, clothing, and shelter theirs. But if they wanted that, they would have to do the whole program and go to Gainesville, Georgia. It's too late now. It had to be done already. One thing should be checked. What is Garrett? Does it work? Because especially that area, and people bring their families there, which I believe mine, my friends, and then half their kids have mental illness, having sex with their parents. And half those kids want to be very successful. Because as far as I know, there's nothing where you are. There's nothing over there. You could easily be taken answered by somebody and never get out of it. And it happens to a lot of people. I really do feel that happened to her. She, as a young child from New York City, got taken out to the desert and then could not ever return. And then there's all these different people that work that campaign. And it does not have to be in your lifetime. I'm sure there is one in your lifetime too coming up with the younger generation and the Russian replacement for you, China. But that's if he grows and they show us theirs, which is to ask questions. See, I think in your generation, there's no asking questions. It's like you said, sit there, no mistakes, keep going. There's no time really to teach somebody else. I mean, not in that business at that time. I mean, ultimately, you're giving them your set of information. They were supposed to do that themselves. Even in this day, that's left wide open for some child to do the same thing you did. So as far as no great prince, I mean, we would live and die, and some kid would think that only to be probably murdered or die of his own cause. In this case, it says there's a godson or the great. It says here. Think about it. It's people in the spot, people names in the spot are still alive. Yeah, which ultimately is everybody as far as we're concerned. Throughout the heavens and throughout eternity. And as far as we know, nothing can be done about it. Nothing can be done about it. But you can just work and knock this one out. But if that's the case, you move to the next one. Or your spirit moves to the next one. You stay on. Now, as far as this constants, you're offered a special thing as being the expert, being made obsolete in degrees and inches. It will be different with the other. I mean, what good is it if you make 50 pieces and assemble to 50 other companies that can't make it? So when you did, you would sign into the host server's Area 51. Your mother, she all those numbers you had, all those numbers you had. So if you call, I'm talking to the computer. So it'll be a lot very confusing for you, which is 1 minute's one thing, next minute's something else. This whole thing got started with psychiatry, where you told where they were lying to, and you know that. I mean, you were offered a job doing this by declaring bankruptcy, getting yourself a public support check, and working with the home theater system. And we decided we don't want it. It's too much of a problem. I mean, many people got dead that bought this. That really screws people's mind up. So you did accomplish something here, but it's all part of a complete system. Basically, sit here, talk about a microphone and talk to people or on the streets and stuff, if you knew how to. So I would think there was a contract at one time that was offered to you. I mean, you couldn't get a job, you couldn't get a public support check. I think that county it didn't have a public support system. You were trying for a lot of jobs, but eventually said, "It's ridiculous. He won't go steal something. The guy open, he doesn't know how to or remember how to." Doesn't even understand. So he was never taught that. And why would he if he's not the man's son? Yeah. So that should put some fear into you. And so you're saying some stuff that we know is different. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, there's a lot of different things we have to consider, which I think ultimately contest is to alter what somebody made as you saw the man go up into the sun, into space. Alter what somebody made. The man told you he made it, right? And that he's Rochelle's husband, which you would know is those 2,000 girls, but I don't think he's talking about that. I mean, he said 10 double back one, all kinds of different stuff. And I'm pretty sure he's the one that did the wiring here. But it wouldn't matter, he'd only be in different creation. Yeah, yeah. So everybody makes it, everybody don't make it. That's a difficult situation. If it was anything inside, it's inside the person, microscopic. So in that world, it was an ink, and inside it was that little Pollock shunt. Right? And I did teach the true molecule, and you would have to have the ability to do that. That's all you were ever supposed to do. Now, if you come to this East Coast, you would have to go to work for 20 years, pay 15% taxes to get yourself in shape. And that didn't happen. It was taken away from you, given to some woman, your psychiatric treatment. Sometimes people are that way, thinking you're on drugs, all kinds of things, or just saying, no, that's it. You do the work and then get punched out. You do the work again, you get punched out. But for that reason, a lot of people got involved with it, which is why it hurts so badly. As far as we know, it gets worse and worse and worse. And if this is happening, then most likely this body you're in is going to try and trap it, sign it, make absolutely certain you get into hell. This way, there's no glorified people or no people that somehow maintain an existence. But we can do it with silence all kinds of stuff. So it might be difficult for you. It might be. But I would think that shoulder was totally destroyed by needles and punching somebody, which you can't do. You can't hit somebody. So if you went to that area and was penetrated in homosexuality, and they put it in something in inspect, put you in prison, then you would have to suck this kind of get laid your ass off. You have no choice. But what you did was fight the guy, and so much you can't do. And then so next I sent in to kick the crap out of you. In both cases, much larger than you, which we felt was a very important part of this thing. But even that you did, you see yourself pass further into hell, right? And then show up 2 weeks later. But that's how that works with ginger eyes. Most of this we can navigate. If you had to go up to heaven, you'd have to have aircraft, and you would have to be in the Air Force, and you would have to be able to fly to ascend into it, know how to see it all. And what you did have was a system that saw something that is heaven, millions of years old, and beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Like Christ said, is every manner of sin is acceptable. So, and then however that works out, see? So if you see that white light, most men tell you, you're past the eternity of hell, which is what you think of, even since you're 5 years old. You just said the magic word. But that's everybody, right? So you will ask the software from the Star Trek bridge, life eternal, how he does this by replicating his cells in the space inside your body. And Long Islanders do have that. Not everybody has it. Microscopic life. It can be reopened and have you see here. But altering for another being, and never get anything. So you'll have a good thing. If you got to realize in 20 years, even if we did, in 20 years' time, we'll be too old to do it. And I think that's what happens here. But as you know, you went to bed. You were coming up the block, and coyotes charmed you. But that was the story, the story Polacks. Those were the people. They believed it were. And it was just a stereo rebroadcasting right was something that happened 6,000 years ago. We wanted to know how the family was rubbed out. But it was these people. I don't think I don't think they know it, but it was over my knee to rub that family. They went and ruined the machine shop. Yeah, like you said, 600,000 cash. That's 12 machines around, and that took them 20 or 30 years to do. Mm. So only went here to not only a retirement community, but a lifetime prison sentence. And then whenever they do die. But if that's the case, I'll talk cheating still. And the reason for this is that black men took your money. If you take somebody's food, water, clothing, and shelter money, everybody loses their check. And you never get a check again. They never get a check again. Other than people driving through the area to put money into the stores. Okay? Alright. So let's shut down.